The internet is full of Game of Thrones fan theories. If you had a gold dragon for every theory out there, you'd be as rich as a Lannister. The theories range from the highly believable, like the theory of Jon Snow's true parents, to laughable tinfoil hat theories, like the one that predicts Rickon will ride into battle on a unicorn with an army of loyal cannibals behind him. That's actually a real theory, and to be honest, it's one of my favorites. But Season 8 of Game of Thrones has pretty much crushed most of the fan theories out there. At least most of them won't appear on the show. This is probably because the show doesn't have the time or budget for the more viable theories to be realized on screen. The show does, however, sometimes low-key confirm book theories, things we won't see on the show but we'll see in the books. One of the major theories that's been swimming around the internet for years is the Bran time travel theory. The theory got a massive boost after the Hold the Door episode when Bran projects his consciousness into the past and influences it, which tragically results in Hodor becoming Hodor. As the theory goes, Bran travels back in time and begins affecting the past. He walks into the body of his ancestor Bran the Builder, who builds legendary structures like Winterfell and the Wall. The theory also proposes that Bran whispers into the Mad King's mind, which drives him insane and causes him to hoard wildfire and eventually attempt to burn down King's Landing. Burn them all! Bran may also be the person who sends the dragons to Illyrio, which are given to Dany as a wedding gift, though that is kind of a long shot. In episode 4 of season 8, titled The Last War, in a conversation between Bran and Tyrion, Bran says this:
"You shouldn't envy me. Mostly I live in the past."
This may be a line just referencing his new three-eyed raven state. As a person who remembers everything, he would probably spend some of his time stuck in the past, and the present, and the future. Or maybe it's just the writers trolling us. But whatever the case, I can't help but feel that this line has a deeper meaning. Which begs the question, the war against the dead is over. Why would he need to keep traveling into the past? Unless he needs to go back in time and set up events so that the Night King can eventually be defeated. Lots of things have to happen in order for the Night King to eventually be defeated. The War of the Five Kings, the death of Ned Stark, and the Red Wedding all give Arya the opportunity and, more importantly, the motivation to travel to Braavos and become an assassin good enough to kill the Night King. The war against the Mad King as a side effect leads to the birth of Jon Snow. Those wars also lead to Dany being raised in hiding in Essos, eventually gaining the Dothraki army, the Unsullied army, and 3 dragons, all necessary pieces in defeating the White Walkers. So, maybe now that the Night King is dead, Bran has to spend his remaining time psychically traveling into the past in order to make sure events happen the way they were supposed to. In the same way that he was always meant to go back in time and turn young Willis into Hodor, he was also always meant to go back in time and influence events. One thing to note are the show's credits, which depict important events in reverse chronological order, from the fall of the wall to the Red Wedding and finally the birth of the dragons. This may be a hint to the time travel theory. In his conversation with Jaime and Theon, Bran talks about the way their past decisions shouldn't be regretted because they set them each on their destined paths.
I'm not that person anymore.
You still would be, if you hadn't pushed me out of that window. And I would still be Brandon Stark.
Pushing Bran out of the window changed Jaime, filled him with enough guilt to make his oath to Catelyn, which ultimately set him on the path to becoming a better man. The kind of man who would ride north and defend Winterfell. And as Bran reminds us, if Jaime hadn't pushed Bran out of the window, Bran would never have become the Three-Eyed Raven. And if Theon hadn't helped Ramsay take over Winterfell, Bran might never have left Winterfell, gone north of the wall, and found the previous Three-Eyed Raven. And Theon definitely wouldn't have grown into the kind of person who would sacrifice his life in order to protect Bran. So I'm not 100% sure that the show was confirming the time travel theory. But if the time travel theory is true, then it reinforces one of the show's themes, echoed by Sansa in her conversation with the Hound.
Without Littlefinger and Ramsay and the rest, I would have stayed a little bird all my life.
The mistakes you've made and the traumatic events you've experienced were all necessary steps on the journey to you becoming the person you are today. In short, no regrets, everything happens for a reason.
I just want you to know. I wish the things I did.
Everything you did brought you where you are now. Where you belong. Home.
So what do you think? Did the show confirm the Bran time travel theory, or have I just spent way too much time overanalyzing a throwaway line? Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter at nightout_cinema for live tweets of the show on Sundays and updates on all upcoming videos. Oh, and if you like this video, then please like the video. This is Hungry Ghost from Night Owl Cinema. Good night and see you next time.